What is up, guys? Kane here, and in this one, let's finish up talking about the dragon abilities and more or less talk about which one of those dragons likely will be meta or have already made up, waiting until you would be able to get the Dragon Awakening 4. So we have spoken about the Ruby Dragon, and we have 4 other dragons left to talk about. So the first one will be the Onyx Dragon. So I have one of the Awaken abilities already on this basic dragon. So this is the Graviton Surge. Basically, the CC lasts 7 seconds, does some damage, and on the Awaken ability, it procs every 45 seconds and does a little bit more damage. But as we know, the dragon doesn't really do that much damage, so it's kind of irrelevant. The thing is, every 45 seconds, majority of the fights are actually finished by the first 20 seconds. Like, there are fights which are not really finished at 45, but they are very, very rare. Like, maybe 10% out of like I don't know, 10, 15, 20 fights or so. It's very, very rare, at least in the way my PvP go. Either you are a burst versus stall, which then takes like 30, 35 seconds, maybe 25 to then pincer aside or whatever, or if it's burst versus burst, usually it's over in the first like 5, 10, 15 seconds or so. So yeah, this is not really that useful. Let's go on to the other 2 abilities. So we have Corrosive Scales. This at max level is 20%. So this one has been changed with a sort of a field-wide ability plus a bonus of another one around the dragon. So it says all enemy units on the battlefield take additional 8%, further increases to those around the dragon by 15%. So a total of 23 versus 20 around the dragon. So this can actually help your mages or so deal backline damage, or rather those mages do more backline damage. Because before, it had to be pretty close to the dragon, whereas now, by just having this dragon, your mages essentially will do more damage. So it is a pretty decent buff, I would say. I mean, unsure if it's incredibly powerful. We still have yet to test or even try using or testing. So 8% does seem like a decent value. It could be like a true percentage. It could be like a basic, which may be descaled quite a bit. I mean, who knows? Then we have Eternal Void, the dragon's ultimate ability. While on the battlefield, friendly non-hero, non-summon melee units fall in battle, they have a percent chance to summon a black hole. Now this particular ability does sound pretty good, however, like 90% of its black holes proc on the front line, which is kind of useless. Since the dragon doesn't really do damage, majority of these like literally do nothing. They CC frontline, but frontline does no damage, so it's kind of like questionable whether or not this particular ability is that useful. So on the Awaken ability, the dragon, when friendly non-summon melee units, including heroes, so I assume melee heroes since this says melee units, fall in battle, have a 10% chance to summon a small black hole. The chance is greater for large ones, so heroes are large units, meaning probably they have a higher percentage, like 20, 30, 40 maybe, to summon a black hole, but again, majority of them are actually happening in the front line, so it doesn't really pose too much of usefulness. I mean, could potentially stun, silence some heroes like maybe Avril, which may be too close to the front line, but usually they don't target those heroes which are actually performing quite a lot of work or are buffers or sages or stuff, because they don't really go that close to the front line. So yeah, pretty much this dragon, in terms of awakening abilities, the Corrosive Scales may be the more broken one on the Onyx. So I have checked the Topaz Dragon. I'm not even sure if we wanna even look into its abilities. The thing is, if the dragon was able to do true damage in terms of the destruction, like this one in particular, for example, 7% to damage, rather true damage, which would be like 14% for 2 seconds. I mean, the Topaz Dragon would actually do some incredible amounts of damage. I mean, like probably enough damage to actually kill heroes and etc. But they didn't really change that much in terms of this dragon. And since the dragon doesn't really do damage, this dragon still remains probably the most useless dragon of them all. So it's not even worth to actually cover the abilities. So we have an Azure Dragon. So we have the Scales. Radiates aura, freezing, magic, reducing attack speed. I think this turns to 30% on its max level. And the Awaken one, similar to the Onyx ability, basically reduces attack speed and movement speed of all enemy units on the battlefield by 10%. Further reduces those around the Azure Dragon. So what this does is, this kind of reduces a small portion of, say, Valerie's damage, say, Sizo, Tisophin, Arian, stuff like that, perhaps even archers. And also this, say, movement speed decrease is also attack speed. Oh, this time they actually mentioned it, yeah. So essentially, it sort of acts like, I guess, a slight debuff, but I don't really know how useful this 10% is. I mean, is this 10% of their total, which would then kind of be powerful, since if you have archers with like 5 attacks per second, minus 10% would make them like 4.5. Or if it's just like 0.1, which would make the 5 attacks per second archer to like 4.9, which would kind of be useless or not as good. So questionable which one it is, because majority of the time they're pretty random, but I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. This could be somewhat useful. And then we have the other two abilities, which I do believe, or wait, not two, yeah, two abilities. So Noble Blood, basically this one grants 15% reduced physical damage on your friendly units on your entire field. And the Awaken one, when Azure Dragon is on the battlefield, reduces physical damage taken by all friendly troops. Wait, what? So did they just nerf this ability? It says when on battlefield, friendly units. Keep in mind this says friendly units. So this one here says when Azure Dragon is on the battlefield, reduce physical damage taken by all friendly troops. So I'm not sure if this is actually like a typo, or they just literally destroy this particular ability to literally total uselessness. But then again, it says here friendly units take 15% reduced damage. So like troops means army, units means army and heroes. So that is kind of questionable right here. That kind of poses some question marks right there. But the thing is, this buff lasts even after the dragon is dead, but it doesn't matter. If the dragon dies, everything just dies almost instantly. So kind of a useless ability if you ask me. And then we have Hailstorm, summons 60 hailstones dealing damage. Awaken ability stays the same, increases a little bit more damage, and every 45 seconds. The thing is, if your dragon has Aura Blast, your dragon has other abilities, you want that dragon to proc them. So this could actually stop the pincer movement. Perhaps this could sometimes proc freeze on the enemy heroes. I mean, it is kind of questionable, but it would stop the dragon from proccing particular abilities like Aura Blast, so it could essentially reduce maybe a swell that could have helped you. I mean, there are question marks there, so I don't really think that this one is good in comparison to the greater abilities. So honestly, I think the Azure Dragon got a pretty huge hit in terms of these Awaken abilities. And now, of course, my most favorite dragon with the Awakens is the Azure Dragon. So when attacked, has a percent to heal nearby friendly, humanoid, and magical units. So I assume that kind of works on both army and heroes. I mean, I haven't tested it, I haven't used the hero, but from the wording, it does seem that it would work on heroes as well. So, filling it with vitality. When attacked, there is 15% chance, so they still kept it. Heal nearby allies. When awakened, vitality overflows every 8 seconds, so this is an additional heal every 8 seconds. Overflowing can only be triggered once 0.8 seconds and has no effect on buildings, mechs, and undead units. Nearby friendly humanoid and magical units are healed for 2.4k. So basically this value should be increased than what it is here, as usually the Awaken abilities increase the value quite decently. So the heal with all the scaling, with Arcane Blessing, can actually be pretty friggin' decent in terms of this one. And then we have two more abilities. So we have the Rebirth. When on battlefield, friendly humanoid or magical units have a 33% chance to resurrect with HP plus 35% upon death. So this one, 33% chance to resurrect with 33% higher HP and damage. So for example, if you have archers, if you have frontline, etc., your units will be resurrecting with more damage. I mean, currently, with the Cosmic Badge having such friggin' huge, insane numbers, this could actually mean the archers, if they revive, could few hit maybe a Rufio who would be there. I mean, it really depends on a lot of circumstances. But essentially, say archers would survive quite a bit more. They would have more HP. They would have some damage if they would actually revive. And I mean, they still remain with the same values of revival in terms of percent HP, though I think recovering more HP than the previous ability. I'm not sure, I didn't have this level 100, but again, the values do tend to change quite a bit on the Awaken one. And of course, we have the last ability, Call of the Wild. Summons 3 restorative fountains, lasts 11 seconds, and heals a ton of HP with damage mitigation. So I have to check this one. I'm unsure whether or not the ability increases in damage taken, so be right back. So I have found it. Basically, it also increases in damage mitigation. So we have 20% HP and 60% damage mitigation, while the Awakening ability remains exactly the same, doesn't increase in HP, and lasts the same amount, but it procs every 45 seconds. So this, in comparison to the damage abilities, the CC abilities, this actually has a lot more value than the others. The thing is, if the dragon does remain alive and you're pincering and stuff like that, this particular one can literally nullify tons of abilities in that 11 seconds, tons of damage, and this 20k HP healing turns to so friggin' much, it can literally just make, say, frontline heroes and etc. tank damage while also healing more than the damage that they would be taking in comparison to, like, say, any possible damage that you may do. Majority of the time, even at the beginning of the fight, if you're facing, say, a Azure Dragon and you have a frontline with this particular buff, you're basically doing no damage for the entirety of this particular ability. So, proccing every 45 seconds can actually help your dragon in terms of, say, a burst side, and potentially, I suppose, pincering or so. Helping the burst side in terms of the potential healing and damage mitigation, but they wouldn't be necessarily providing that much in terms of that damage. But who knows, I might actually swap to the Azure Dragon if I will be continuing to play human in the future. But who knows, I might really not awaken this dragon up to, say, awakening level 4 in this lifetime, in comparison to how many resources we're earning, in comparison to how much we have to get this. So probably in half a year, 1 year, 2 years, I don't know, man, maybe 3 years. Took a lot of them with Draconic to become available, so I kind of have my hesitations in terms of this particular dragon. So yeah, in pretty much, I guess, all of the dragons, I kind of think that the Jade Dragon has like the rank or top rank in terms of the future meta. After that, I could say it is between an Onyx Dragon as well as potentially a Ruby Dragon. And then the third one could be, might as well, the Azure Dragon. But the thing is, the Azure Dragon can still be useful in terms of, say, Sylvani, because their trees would heal a ton, like 5-6% every second, and they have insane resistances. So in terms of like Sylvani, they would likely still use an Azure Dragon, but for majority of the others, likely the Jade would be top, and after the Jade would then be Onyx or Ruby. I'm still testing out the Ruby, and I think it is okay in terms of damage that it does, the tankiness, and of course the reductions that it is able to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are, I suppose, my opinions in terms of this particular feature, and I guess the future meta or what it may look like. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you would wish to support me more than just watching my videos, I have made a Patreon page where you would be able to do just that. And in return, I would be able to help you out more individually in terms of PvP, events, formations, and stuff like that. Also, I would like to thank all of my patrons for the support. Really, really appreciate it for your subscriptions. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching. Take care and stay safe out there.